War and peace are fundamental concepts for every Israeli soldier, as each views themselves as a soldier protecting peace. The olive branch motif appears in many IDF corps. As the Latin proverb says, si vis pacem, para bellum, which means, if you want peace, prepare for war. The highest military rank in the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, is IDF Chief of Staff, Hebrew, RAV ALUF, meaning Chief of Chiefs or Chief of Commanders. RAV ALUF is usually translated as Lieutenant General, although it is the most senior rank in the IDF. The Hebrew linguists employed by the Israeli government are authorized to determine new words or terms for use in everyday language, often drawing from biblical events as their basis. This also includes forming terms and symbols, insignias for their military.
The water returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that was coming after the Israelites into the sea. Not so much as one of them survived. Exodus 14:28.
In this verse, the word keel or kel means army, Pharaoh's army. This word appears repeatedly in the Bible, with its meaning shifting based on context. However, Kayil often refers to a group of large numbers or great strength, such as in,
So I prophesied as I was commanded, and the breath came into them. They lived and stood on their feet, an extremely great army. Ezekiel 37:10.
This discussion connects the term Kel Paro, Pharaoh's army, as mentioned in Exodus 14:28. The term Kayil is associated with military strength or armed forces. It's essential to note that the history of Israel's exodus from Egypt and the significant event of the Red Sea parting marks the beginning of Israel's theocratic government under Moses' leadership. This event profoundly influenced Israel's foundational laws, namely the Torah, and their worship practices towards God. This event has become the basis of Israel's entire national life to this day. In modern Hebrew, the term Kel is used to mean the military corps, armed forces for Israel's military, Tzeva HaHagana LeYisrael, abbreviated Tzahal, or the Israel Defense Forces, IDF. 1. Kel Hayam, Navy. 2. Kel Sirion, Armored Corps. 3. Kel Hatotkanim, Artillery Corps. 4. Kel Avir, Air Force. Next, we will discuss the symbols, insignia worn by the Israel Defense Forces, IDF. Every Israeli soldier wears their unit's insignia on their sleeve. We will focus on the badges used, and all of which are derived from biblical events. The IDF uses biblical traditions to strengthen the interconnection each soldier feels to the Bible, a priceless heritage for the nation and the land of Israel. 1. General Staff of the Israel Defense Forces. The General Staff of the Israel Defense Forces in Hebrew is Hamateh, Haklali Shel Tzeva, Hagana LeYisrael, abbreviated Matkal. As you can see, this emblem includes a sword, Hebrew, kerev, representing war, and an olive branch, Hebrew, zayit, symbolizing peace. Reference the story of Noah after the flood, when Noah sent out a dove, and it eventually returned with an olive branch. War and peace are fundamental concepts for every Israeli soldier, as each views themselves as a soldier protecting peace. The olive branch motif appears in many IDF corps. As the Latin proverb says, si vis pacem, para bellum, which means, if you want peace, prepare for war. The highest military rank in the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, is IDF Chief of Staff, Hebrew, RAV ALUF, meaning Chief of Chiefs or Chief of Commanders. RAV ALUF is usually translated as Lieutenant General, although it is the most senior rank in the IDF. This rank is assigned only to the Chief of the General Staff, Hebrew, Ramatkal. So in Israel, there is typically only one active RAV ALUF at any given time. However, this can change during wartime. For example, during the Yom Kippur War in 1973, retired RAV ALUF Haim Bar-Lev was called back to service to replace Shmuel Gonen as the Southern Front commander. Thus, he worked alongside the active RAV ALUF in charge, David Elazar. At that time, there were 2 RAV ALUFs actively serving simultaneously. If you look at the insignia of the highest-ranking officer in the photo above, you will only see 2 stars. This is because, in Israeli understanding, 3 stars, with the number 3 symbolizing holiness, are reserved only for God. The highest commander after the 2-star RAV ALUF is the God of Israel, who symbolically bears 3 stars. Holy, Adonai Tsevaot is a military title for the God of Israel. 2. Southern Command. The Southern Command, Hebrew, Pikud Darom, abbreviated as Padam. This term comes from the Hebrew word Pikud, meaning military command, and Darom, meaning south. The Southern Command is responsible for protecting the Negev region and securing the border of the Sinai Peninsula with Egypt. It is led by an Aluf, or Major General, regional command level. This insignia features an illustration of a fox jackal, Hebrew, Sayuol, inspired by the story of the foxes in the time of Samson. We might recall that in Israel's battle against the Philistines, Samson captured 300 foxes and tied torches to their tails.
Samson went and captured 300 jackals Sewell and got some torches. He tied the jackals Sewell in pairs by their tails, and then tied a torch to each pair, Judges 15-4.
Samson then released the animals into the Philistine fields in the south, causing extensive economic damage. This insignia serves as a reminder of Samson's cunning in military tactics. The Southern Command has led the IDF in 5 wars against Egypt, the Arab League. 1. The Arab-Israeli War, 1948. 2. The Suez Crisis, 1956. 3. The Six-Day War, 1967. 4. The War of Attrition, 1967, 1970. 5. The Yom Kippur War, 1973. Because of its frequent involvement in these major wars, both soldiers and commanders often rotated quickly, given the high casualty rates in these conflicts. 3. Central Command. The Central Command, Hebrew, Pikud Merkaz, abbreviated PACMAZ. This term comes from the Hebrew word Pikud, meaning military command, and Markazi, meaning center. This is the military command of the Israel Defense Forces, responsible for security and defense in the West Bank, Jerusalem, Sharon, Gush Dan, and the areas of Judea and Samaria. It is led by an Aluf, or Major General, regional command level. As is known, the territory of the tribe of Judah lies in the center of the land of Israel. According to Jacob's blessing, Judah is symbolized by a lion, Hebrew, Ari, Aryeh.
You are a lion's cub, Judah, from the prey, my son, you have gone up. He crouches and lies down like a lion, like a lioness, who will rouse him, Genesis 49-9.
The city of Jerusalem, Israel's capital, is within the territory of the tribe of Judah, and the symbol of Jerusalem, as well as the city flag, also features a lion. 4. Northern Command. The Northern Command, Hebrew, Pikud Tzafon, abbreviated Patsan. This term comes from the Hebrew word Pikud, meaning military command, and Tzafon, meaning north. This command is led by an Aluf, or Major General, regional command level. The Northern Command is responsible for security and defense along Israel's northern borders with Syria and Lebanon. The military insignia for the Northern Command features a deer, Hebrew, Ayal, representing the tribe of Naphtali, as mentioned in Jacob's blessing.
Naphtali is a free-running doe. He speaks delightful words, Genesis 49-21.
As per biblical territorial divisions, the northern area is where the tribe of Naphtali resided. In modern Israel, this area falls under the Northern Command, reflecting how the modern state of Israel reconnects with biblical events, like naming areas around Tel Aviv as Gush Dan, after the ancient territory of the tribe of Dan, who eventually migrated north. During the wars of the 1960s and 1970s, the Northern Command was responsible for defending against attacks from Syria in the Golan Heights and along the Lebanese border. In the 1970s and 1980s, The Northern Command primarily faced attacks from the PLO, particularly after the Black September events, leading to the 1982 Lebanon War. The Northern Command then encountered resistance from Hezbollah, the Lebanese militant group formed in 1982 to oppose Israel's occupation of southern Lebanon. In 2000, the Northern Command withdrew from southern Lebanon and reached agreements through the United Nations. However, Hezbollah remained a persistent threat to the Northern Command, particularly in the Shabaa Farms area near Mount Hermon, a territory seized by Israel from Syria, which Hezbollah claims as Lebanese territory.